What's up guys, my name is Dagnyrae and welcome to Storytime. The anniversary for the ballistic missile threat in Hawaii is coming up, so I figured what better story to tell than where I was at the time. During the months leading up to it, we kept getting updates on Kim Jong-un's, or as we called him, Rocket Man's, plans to nuke Honolulu or do this or do that, you know, all the weird stuff he does. And we weren't hearing anything from the university, which was weird. The University of Hawaii was sending nothing to us. But we were constantly getting emails from the government with graphs on the likelihood versus the vulnerability compared to other ballistic missiles and other nuclear threats that had happened. There were tests of the nuclear alarms that hadn't been sounded since the Cold War. It was really surreal in the months leading up to it. And it was unlikely, but if it happened, we had 20 minutes to get indoors and to get into the most safe place we could before everything else was gone. And those emails were also saying all the typical stuff to do during a nuclear fallout. You know, go indoors, make sure you have 2 weeks worth of food and water, don't go outside unless otherwise advised. But again, it was highly unlikely. It was just surreal, at least it was for me. One day, I remember it was a Saturday, I had to go to work. I was giving this buddy private martial arts lessons at the time. I woke up to this blaring, buzzing sound on my phone. I just rolled over really sleepily and I looked at my phone and I remember my eyes just shot open. And I read what was on the screen about 3 times before it actually hit me. It said, ballistic missile incoming. This is not a drill. Seek shelter immediately. I just started shaking. I was alone in my apartment, reading this alert on my phone, knowing that the countdown had started. 20 minutes until everything would just... And it was weird because I remember shaking, I had all this adrenaline, I was just trembling, but I wasn't scared. It was just weird to think about. So I texted my parents, a couple close friends, and my boyfriend the same message. It said, the missile has been launched. I love you. My parents very soon after said, is it on TV? Where did you hear this? Such and such. My boyfriend, on the other hand, was devastated. He was really scared. Keep in mind, this is also my boyfriend at the time, no longer with him. And after I sent those texts, I was like, what do I do now? What time is it? How many minutes have gone by? I didn't know what to expect other than get indoors, stay away from the windows, all that stuff that's not gonna work when you're living on an island that has absolutely no bomb shelters. I remember going into the fridge and kind of rifling through my roommate's stuff, looking for a drink. In my mind, I was like, well, I'm turning 21 in like a month and a half, but I'm gonna die. And it's their stuff, but they're not here and I'm gonna die, so. And then as I was looking in the fridge and rifling through, I just looked out the window and I saw this flood of people. Right outside my window where I was living, there are these 4 big circular towers and there's this big courtyard. And through that courtyard, there was just this flood of people running. And they were going up the steps that led to the campus. And I was like, where are they going? I just remember watching them and being like, maybe I have a chance. So I decided to follow these people, which is actually really stupid to do because I was already inside. I got out of my PJs, put on a jacket, you know, got on my slippers. I took my key, I took my phone, and I just ran with those people. Also at the time, I'd completely lost my voice. It got to a point where even if I spoke, even if I whispered, it felt like I was being choked. I couldn't ask people where they were going. And I remember we all just, as this pack, we went up to the crosswalk where it was red and we all just kind of looked and collectively went up, screw it, let's go. And we just kept running. We're like, we're gonna die, who cares if there's a car? We just kept running and running and running. And the further we ran, the more we started dispersing and the more I realized there was no plan. I was just another sheep in the flock, just running because I saw other people running. And that made my heart sink a bit. There was this moment where I wanted to text my then boyfriend, I would have loved to spend the rest of my life with you. But I knew that if I sent him that, it would just crush him. I was already trying to keep it together for him. He was really freaking out. I was more just like, this is it. I had a couple weird thoughts. This one's pretty weird, but I watched a lot of Matthew Santaro. He does a lot of top 10s, and one of his top 10s was chilling messages before people died. And I had a thought, like, what if one of these texts I'm sending on my phone to my family, my then boyfriend, is gonna end up on one of his top 10s. And this message, this person, right before Honolulu was destroyed with a missile. It was kind of a narcissistic thought, but I'm being honest, it was going through my mind. The second thought was, a while ago I had watched this animation of the bombing of Hiroshima. It has just this blinding flash and people looking in their eyes just getting wide and the skin just melting off them. And I was looking at the people that I couldn't talk to because I had no voice. And I was imagining what they would look like. I was imagining how blinding that flash would be. I was wondering if I would even be able to see people's faces melting off after being blinded by that flash of light. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I was thinking I really would have loved to spend the rest of my life with my boyfriend at the time. But I kept running, and I was more sad, and I was more solemn and serious, like, okay, I'm waiting, I'm watching, and then it occurred to me, how long has it been? It really didn't feel like that long, especially my memory didn't feel like that long. I didn't remember at what time the message went out, but I kept looking at my phone being like, it's been too long. Like, where's the flash? Where's the sound? Where's the missile? And when I finally got to the topmost point of campus, I saw people just kind of strolling back. Not the running, not those big wide eyes. And I started hearing the words saying, it's false, it's a false alarm, it's a false alarm. Finally, 37 minutes later, the news went out that it was a false alarm. And that's when it really hit me. People just laughed it off. All the other students, they were just walking back to their dorms. I just had to sit down on these steps and hold on to the step, and I thought I was ready to leave everything behind. And to find out the whole thing was a false alarm, there's just something that shocked me. As I was walking back, I called up my boyfriend at the time, told him what was going on. I had barely found my voice then. It was already starting to go again. He was relieved. I wouldn't even say numb. I was just shocked. Then, as originally scheduled, I met up with my buddy who I was giving martial arts lessons to. We went to his house, we trained, we went out to lunch to celebrate the fact that we're alive. We laughed it off the whole time. We were saying that it was, it wasn't the Navy SEALs, it was the Coast Guard otters who were conspiring with Kim Jong Fat Face and doing, I don't know, we were just being goofy. It was dumb, but that's how we go. The whole thing was just mind-blowing. But then in the next few weeks, we were able to joke about it. The weeks turned into months, and now those months have turned into a year. I didn't think I'd make it this far. It's like, okay, it's been a year since that. We're all good now. We're all good. So that's my story. I'm always curious about where other people were during that event, or what was going through their minds, or if they had loved ones on the islands. But yeah, at least that's where I was for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my channel for more videos that I've done, and have a phenomenal day. Bye, guys.